everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and this is the first full week that we are focusing purely on the January TBR. I am continuing to read every day and seeing how that sort of impacts my reading as far as like reading consistently and as well as like my reading goal. So I'm very interested to see what happens this week. I don't have a lot of things that are like out of the norm, but we should hopefully make a lot of progress, at least on the Count of Monte Cristo, because I will be driving quite a bit this week. So let's see what happens. Speaking of the Count of Monte Cristo, I am now 13% through, and for people who don't know, the Count of Monte Cristo is following Edmond Dante, who was the first mate of this ship. He gets promoted to like temporary captain at the beginning of the story, and one of his crewmates is jealous of that and sets off this whole thing where Edmund is accused of being a Bonapartist, which gets him arrested and then put in prison. There's a lot more to that situation, but that's the summary. Where I am now, 13% through, he is in jail and he has made a friend. And they are working together to try to escape, to try to sort of dig out of the castle in order to be able to jump from the castle into the ocean and swim to a nearby island, which I'm like, that sounds insane. And I'm like, I get that he was a sailor, so yeah, he could probably do it, but I was like, that sounds crazy. And I haven't decided yet, like, how into potential spoilers I want to get, or how detailed I want to get, because I am really enjoying this. Like, it's a very long book, but I am very much enjoying it. And my dad has read it before, and he said that, like, the part where Edmund is in prison is like probably the slowest part, and then after that it really, like, the action picks up. But even that, like, that's not saying much, because like there's still a lot of action even while he's in prison. So yeah, I am enjoying it now that we've really gotten going. Like, the beginning was just a little bit slow, because it was introducing a lot of like different things going on, but I'm looking forward to getting to listen to more tomorrow and seeing how Edmund gets out of prison, because I think we're getting to the point where he's gonna get out. So very much looking forward to that. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to talk about. I haven't read yet today. I have some work meetings later on, but hopefully, I will read tonight at the very latest, like before I go to bed. And I'll be starting Dungeon Crawler Carl and seeing how that goes. I'm always nervous about sort of jumping on a hype train because I don't want to be disappointed. So we'll see. Okay. I understand the hype. I started reading Dungeon Crawler Carl yesterday. I read the first 100 pages. And I get it. I do. There are some things where I'm like, to me it feels a little too like gamified, but I also understand. I don't think I've talked about what this book is about yet. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is the first book in a series, and in it the world is taken over by aliens, and the humans that survive, which at the start of the book we're told is around like 13 million, which is, you know, not a lot of the population, actually, if you think about it. They have the choice to participate in this game show. It's not much of a choice, but essentially they can choose to go into this dungeon and try to get to the 18th level, and if they do, then they take control over the planet from the aliens that invaded it. it's very difficult to get to that 18th level. And so Carl does that because he's also like, I think it's in Seattle, and it's like freezing when this happens, and he's not dressed properly. And he has his cat. Well, his ex-girlfriend's cat, but his cat. And so they go down together, and they are both players in this game. So I don't know, it's interesting, and it's very much like a D&D video game, kind of like you get to see the stats. There's loot. The loot, adds buffs or debuffs or what have you. And I think this game would be, whoops. I think this book would be confusing if the reader hadn't had some sort of experience with either like video games or D&D. I don't think there's a lot of people that would be the case of not having experience with either, and then reading this book. But I could see some confusion. But overall, I've been hesitant to read this book because there's so much hype around it, and I tend to not believe the hype. I've gotten burned before in the past. But I saw this, I'm like, alright, I'll try it. And now I do get it, because like, I feel for Carl. I definitely feel for the cat, Princess Donut. Definitely feel for her. And the action, like the different like battles that happen, and him trying to learn as much as he can about this world before the competition like really begins, because technically like it has begun, but there aren't live viewers yet. Like, the audience is getting highlights, which makes sense. There's a lot of competitors still. Although, we're told in the first, like, part that 13 million went into the dungeon. Where I am now, there's 4 million. And it's not even been 5 days, because the first level, which is where we are now, is only open for 5 days. I think it's only been like 3 days or so. So it's really interesting. But yeah, on one hand, I'm glad that I'm enjoying it. I never want to read a book I'm not enjoying. On the other hand, I am annoyed that I'm enjoying it, because that means that me not jumping on the hype train for so long was just pure stubbornness. Like, it's well deserved. So yeah, there's that. But I'm looking forward to hopefully reading more today. I have a pretty average day at work, but I am also going to the office, so I'll listen to the Count of Monte Cristo as well. So honestly, I feel pretty good about about what I've managed to read. Yesterday was pretty busy at work, but I feel good about it. So I'm gonna continue doing things off my to-do list, and hopefully I land on read again. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about. I quite honestly do not remember the last time I filmed a clip. Is it Wednesday? It had to be Wednesday or Thursday. I do not remember. I want to say Thursday. I really hope it wasn't Tuesday. It doesn't really matter. But I have continued listening to the Count of Monte Cristo. I'm officially a quarter of the way through, which means that I have listened to like 12 and a half hours. So, yeah, it's a long book, but it's funny because I was talking to someone last night, and they asked, because they know I drive a lot for my commute and stuff, and they asked like what I was listening to. I said the Count of Monte Cristo, and they're like, oh, boring. And I'm like, no, actually, like, don't let the fact that it's like a classic, like, set your expectations or anything. Like, It's actually very exciting. Like, there's a lot happening just like all the time. Because pretty much every time I listen to it, because I listen for like about an hour each time I listen to it, something happens. Like, the plot is always going. And I think I can still talk about it without too much detail. So, Edmund has escaped the prison. He temporarily joined a, like, I think it was smuggling group, got to Monte Cristo, found the treasure, and then started to decide how he was going to be using that money. And it was really nice because the first couple things that he did, beside, like, once he went and, like, got money and traded in jewels and stuff like that, was he went to Marseille to get information about, you know, his dad, the woman he had been engaged to, as well as the people that were responsible for his false imprisonment. And he found out information about some of his friends as well, and so he took measures to help them, which was very nice. And then at the end of the part that I listened to last night, it essentially said, like, now that Edmund has benefited others out of the kindness of his heart and his gratitude, he then hardened his heart to begin his revenge. Like, that's essentially what it said. I was like, oh boy, when I listen tomorrow, it's going to start some things. So I'm very excited to see what the revenge is, because I've never read Count of Monte Cristo before. I've never seen any production of Count of Monte Cristo, so I'm going in pretty blind. So I'm very curious what the revenge is going to look like. So there was that. And then I also finished today reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. And I was really enjoying it. And I did really enjoy it. I didn't stop enjoying it. And I think it's really interesting because while the absolute, like, insanity of that happening, there's also something I like about books who use this format is that, like, there's also an undercurrent of examining, like, the cruelty of humans as well. Because, like, in Hunger Games it was more obvious because they had to literally kill each other. In Dungeon Crawler Carl, they don't have to kill each other. They just have to survive the dungeon. So they're killing monsters and other stuff that is attacking them. However, there are some humans that are killing other humans. And so it sort of unlocks this whole examination of not only the cruelty of the people who created this game, run this game, watch this game, but also the humans who participate in the game, as well as the humans who do not kill other humans in this game. So it's really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It's very entertaining. I'm a big fan of Carl and his cat, Princess Donut. I think they're great. I added the rest of the series to my wish list, and I gave it 5 stars. I really liked it, which I think I may have mentioned before, that I had held off on this book because it was getting so much hype from, like, other people that I watch. And I can admit when I'm wrong. You know, I held off for no reason. The hype is deserved. And from what I can tell from someone who I follow who has read, I think, most of the series to where it is now, all of their ratings are still pretty high. So we'll see. We will see. But I did really enjoy it. So the second book of the year was a big success. Which is good, because I already used my spinning wheel to find out what I'll be reading next, and I will be reading the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Sex. Which, while interesting and probably informative, though outdated, because this was published in 1967, and this is not the original, thankfully, the font is, like, pretty big. And there are also, like, there are illustrations, although you're not seeing any. There's supposed to be, like, over 150 illustrations. So we'll see. But I've had it for a while, so I should probably read it. But yeah, I will check in tomorrow after I have listened to The Count of Monte Cristo some more. I did not have the best day yesterday. I did still like listen to an audiobook and read, but work was a lot. I was very frustrated. And then that meant that by the time I was done with work, I didn't really want to do anything. I didn't listen to the audiobook on my way home. I did on the way there. And then I got home and I didn't really want to do anything, so I ate half a pint of ice cream and I read fan fiction the rest of the night. So I was most productive when I was at work, and then after that it was just done. But I did listen to The Count of Monte Cristo on my way to work, so that was about another hour and a half-ish. And it was a little boring. I'm not gonna lie. Just because, like, we were introduced to a new character and the story is being told from his perspective, which isn't the first time. Like, sometimes chapters will start from a completely different perspective to show the main character, Edmund, from their viewpoint. That's totally fair. But just, this was a new character, and, like, I kept trying to figure out, like, hello. I kept trying to figure out, like, who he was, and a lot of what was being discussed just wasn't really interesting. So that's another reason I didn't really listen to it on the way home, was just because, like, I was so frustrated with work that I just didn't want to have to, like, just deal with that. So there was that. And then I did bring the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Sex with me just in case, because, like, I had a very busy day, but just in case I had some time, which I did end up with, like, a little bit in between, like, meetings and stuff like that. So I started reading it. I'm on page 60 right now. 60? 50. 60. Yeah, 60. Which sounds impressive, but the book actually started on, like, page 45. So, because there were just, like, a lot of, like, illustrations, which were really interesting. And I read the first two I don't know if I finished the second chapter, but the first two chapters are on the, like, male reproductive system and sort of going into details about that, which is interesting because, like, it's something where I'm like, I know the basics, or considering that I live in America, I know more than the basics. But, you know, not anything, like, super detailed like a doctor would. And this was written by doctors. So it was interesting just getting to have more information. And yet it was still published in 1967, and so there's just some, like, casual misogyny sprinkled in for funsies. So that was great. But it's not awful. It's decently easy to read. It is kind of dry, but it's not as dry as I would have thought. The illustrations help, you know, up the page count. But yeah, so I feel good about that. And that's about it. Like I said, after work, I was just done. And then today, I haven't read yet, and I went book shopping with my friend, and I forgot to take any B-roll, which I find frustrating. I'm annoyed that I did that, but that's okay. So yeah, that's about it. That's what I've got going on. So thank you for coming along with me. I have hopped on the Dungeon Crawler Carl train. I actually bought the next 2 books when I went book shopping today, so expect more of that in the future. And yeah, leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I will talk to you in the next video.